All right, welcome. I hope everybody had a good day. Well, let's go ahead and get going. So we will get started on our backs. Okay, so again, your choice what you do with the legs. If it's been a day and you just need to completely relax, legs out straight, arms by your sides, go for it. That's totally fine. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, bring the feet together, knees wide, or you can bring the feet wide, knees together. So knees wide, obviously you'll get to stretch that inner thigh. Feet wide, you'll get a little bit more broadening, opening up through those hips. So you feel like you've been sitting all day and everything and your hips seems really, really tight. This is a good way just to kind of very gently release some of that. Just go ahead and rest one hand on the stomach, one hand rests on the chest. And just breathing in and out through the nose. Just coming to this space. Starting to let everything else go. Starting to focus on that breath. Maybe you notice that breath as it enters the nose. Maybe you notice that breath most with the rise and the fall of the rib cage. Or maybe you can focus that breath by just a simple in, saying into yourself on the inhale and out to yourself on the exhale. Just being here for a few more moments. Just letting yourself, your mind, just relax a bit. Okay, now let's draw those knees in. So the knees will be stacked right over those hips. Shins will be parallel to the ground. You can either field goal out those arms, or you can bring those hands out towards the sides. Hey, walk those shoulder blades together. Draw that low back flat on the mat. So we start to engage through that core. Okay, so the abs tighten up a little bit. And then just bring those knees over to that right side, just hovering those shins about 45 degrees. Then inhale, use that core, bring it back to center. Let's go to the other side, dropping those knees with control over to that left side. Again, those knees are just hovering. Bring it back to center. Then we'll go over to that right side. Back to center. To that left side. Back to center. One more time each way. So maybe go a little bit lower. Bring it back up. And to the left. Bring it back up. Now just cross that right ankle over that left thigh. Hug that knee in. So just a few moments here. Flexing through that foot, drawing that knee in as we draw that tailbone down towards the mat. So a nice long spine. And just switch it straight to the other side. Hug it in. And then go ahead and release it. Just go ahead and hug those knees and just give it a gentle rock from side to side. Now we want those knees, again, stacked over the hips, shins parallel. Lift your hips up and just bring them over to that left side of the mat. Okay, now from here, we're gonna drop the knees over to that right side. So we do that so that spine is pretty much staying in the middle of the mat. You're not as angled that way. And then bring the knees back up and then lift the hips, bring them to that left side or the right side of the mat, excuse me. Knees will go to the left side. Then that right shoulder stays down. If you're really tight and this top leg is just hovering, that is okay. Bring it back to center and then start to rock forward and back. Let's go just cross it over and come onto those hands and knees. So let's go into some cat-cows. So inhale, so we'll drop that belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone into that cow spine. Then exhale, we'll round the spine, draw that belly up and in, pressing the shoulder blades away into that cat spine. And inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. Then now we'll bring it back to neutral spine. We'll warm up through that core. We're gonna send that right leg straight back. Flex that foot, point those toes down. Left arm is gonna reach forward. So really reach to the fingertips, reach to that heel. Exhale, curl it in. Draw that elbow to the knee. Inhale, reach it out long. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it out. 2 more times. Curl and reach and curl and reach. Lower that hand, lower the knee. Other side, pressing that left leg out. Right arm reaches forward. Curl it in. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it out. And curl. Reach. Curl. Reach. Last one. Curl it in. Reach it back out and lower that hand down. Lower that leg. Now, add a little sway from side to side if you want to add the sway as we move through the cat-cows, if that's what you feel like you need. And now really round through that spine, pressing those hips back to the heels. Reach out long through those hands. So slide those hands forward a little bit more. And then maybe you soften that head down towards the mat. Those shoulders are feeling a little bit tight. The more we reach through those fingers, then press the hips back. You might feel a little bit more of a stretch through those, your lats and your shoulders. Then come back up onto hands and knees. Go and step it back to our plank. Pause it here for a breath. And then send those hips up to the sky, that downward facing dog. Take a minute, pedal those feet, sway those hips, whatever you need. And we'll come onto the toes. Bend those knees, stepping those feet to the top of the mat. Sliding the hands up the shins for that half lift. And slide those hands down as we fold. Now again, if the ground is really far away, bring your hands to your shins. That's okay. Now slight bend into the knees, flatten out that back. Let's rise all the way up to standing. Reach it up nice and tall. Let's interlace those fingers, face those palms up. Pull that rib cage down. Take that arch out of the low back. And then find that side bend over to the right. Inhale it back up. Exhale it over to the left. Inhale, reach it back up. And again, exhale, release those hands down to the ground as you fold. Inhale that half lift. And exhale, plant those hands, step those feet back to a plank. Lower it down, point the toes, lift the chest. So pulling those shoulders down and back, lengthen out through the crown of the head. Then exhale, send those hips up and back, downward facing dog. So another 2 breaths here in down dog. Movement's what you need, great. If stillness is what you need, that is great too. And then we'll come onto the toes. Bend those knees, step or hop those feet, top of the mat. Inhale the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll, rise. Interlacing those fingers, palms up. Side stretch to the right. Inhale it up to the left. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale, fold. Flatten out that back. And exhale, plant those hands. Step those feet back to our plank. Lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up and back, downward facing dog. then we'll come on the toes. Bend those knees, separate, hop those feet, top the mat. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, flip. Exhale, rise, or inhale, rise, excuse me. Interlace the fingers, bend it to the right. Back up, to the left. Bring it back up. Release the hands as we fold. Flat back on the inhale. And exhale, plant the hands, step it back to a plank. Lower. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, let's send it right back into a child's pose. So you can bring those knees maybe a little bit wider this time. So maybe we get a little bit more opening through the hips. Press the hips back, arms reach forward. If you want a little more of a stretch to the upper back, go ahead and bring those palms to face up. So maybe you can start here. You get a little bit more stretch through the lats, which are going to be kind of right underneath the armpits. And then from there, maybe you bend those elbows like you're patting yourself on the back. You can maybe walk those elbows forward a little more tricep stretch as well. And we'll extend those arms back out. Come onto those hands and knees. Step it back to a plank. And hips to the sky, downward facing dog. And now bring those feet together. Let's inhale that right leg up to the sky. Curl that knee to the nose, stepping that foot through. Okay, inhale, we're gonna rise up into that lunge. So bend into that front knee, stay really straight through that back leg. Relax those shoulders down. Then we'll add in a twist. Left arm is gonna reach forward, right arm reaches back. Maybe bend a little bit deeper into that front knee. Then we'll reverse it. Ooh. Left arm up, right hand reaches for that hamstring. And then we'll circle those hands all the way down. Step it back to a plank, lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhale those hips to the sky, down dog. Bring those feet together. Inhale that left leg up. Curl that knee in, step that foot through. Inhaling those arms up. Bend into that front knee, back leg is nice and straight. And then we'll add in that twist. Right hand's gonna reach forward, left arm reaches back. Then we'll flip that front palm, right arm reaches up, left hand reaches down. And then we'll circle that hand all the way down. Send those feet back to the plank, lower. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now let's come onto the toes. Bend those knees. Let's step those feet. We're going to go a little bit wider. We're going to come into that squat. So let's turn those toes out, heels in just slightly. Sink those hips down as that chest lifts. So flatten out that back as we drop the hips. The hands can come to heart center. You might be sitting up a little bit higher. Try and press into those toes. Pull the toes out, draw the knees out. Maybe those hips sink down a little bit more. One more breath. And then we'll straighten those legs. Turn those feet parallel as we fold. And then plant those hands. Go and step it back. Again, moving through the vinyasa. And hips up, down dog. Feet together. Inhale, that right leg lifts. Exhale, curl that knee and step that foot through. Back heel stays up in that lunge. Rise up. Then twist, left hand reaches forward, right arm reaches back, and reverse it. Left arm reaches up, right hand reaches for that hamstring. Sink a little deeper. And now let's reach both arms up. We're gonna add on to it. Spin that back heel down, tee out those arms. We're coming into that warrior two. So tailbone and rib cage pull down. Really strong, reaching through those fingers, flexing right here, these triceps. But relax those shoulders down. Bringing awareness to those legs. We want that right knee pressing out. We want that, we're gonna be able to see that big toe right inside that knee. Grip those toes, balls of the feet, heels into the mat. Squeeze those feet towards the midline, lifting through those arches. Holding it, another breath. And then straighten that front leg. Flip that palm, reach it up and back. And then we'll rebend into that knee, tee out the arms, go into that extended side angle. So the forearm can come down towards that thigh as that left arm reaches over, or we can bring that hand inside inside the foot. Keep rotating that chest open, keep that core tight. And so we don't want to feel like we're putting all of our weight onto the ground or onto our right hand or onto that right forearm. We want to be using our core and our legs to keep us lifted. And then inhale, we'll rise back up again, straighten that front leg, flip that palm, reach it up and back. And then we'll tee out the arms, slight bend in that front knee, reach the arm forward. Okay, so just a tiny, tiny bend. And then we'll lower that hand down, open up through that chest. That left arm is reaching up. Maybe you gaze up towards that left hand. And then we'll spin that hand down, step it back to a plank. Lower, inhale, lift, and exhale those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. And now inhaling, that left leg lifts. Exhale, curl that knee to the middle, step that foot through. Okay, keep that back heel up. We're gonna rise up into that lunge. Bend into that front knee. Adding in that twist. Right hand reaches forward, left arm reaches back, sink a little deeper. Now we'll reverse it. Right hand reaches up, left hand reaches for that hamstring. Bend a little deeper into that front knee. Good, inhale, reach both arms up, spinning that back heel down. So you might have to adjust the feet a little bit. We want the heel in line with that back arch. Core is tight, tailbone pulls down. Bend into that front knee. Now again, we want to press that knee out a little bit. We're going to see that big toe. Gripping the toes, heels into the mat, lifting the arches. A little bit more weight on the outside edge of that foot. Really strong through those arms as we relax those shoulders down. Now we'll lower that forearm. Oh, no, reverse it. This was first. Straightening that front leg, bringing it up and back. And then we'll re-tee out those arms. Bend into that front knee. And then lower that forearm down as we sweep that right arm up overhead, or we can bring that hand right inside that foot. Just looking really light on that left hand. A lot of legs, a lot of core. And then we're gonna rise back up. Again, straighten that front leg, flip that palm, reach it back. We're gonna re-tee out the arms, slight bend in that front knee, reach that hand forward first. Lower that hand to the ground, right arm reaches up. And then we'll circle that hand down. Go ahead and step it back to a plank. Lower, inhale, lift, and exhale those hips up and back, downward facing dog. Good, one more breath. And then come high on those toes. Bend those knees, step those feet, top of the mat. Inhale, find that half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we're gonna rise up. Stand tall, and then bring those hands to heart center. Okay, so all of that weight is gonna come into that right foot. I'll mirror you guys. So we're gonna pull that left knee up. Okay, flex that foot, abs are tight. Pull that knee up as high as you can get it. Okay, so you have to be really, really strong through your glute over here, your left glute, quads, hamstrings, and then grip those toes into the ground. Okay, now from here, we can bring that knee out to the side. So plant it maybe on our calf. You need to bring the toes down, a little extra support. Hold on, guys. Sorry, somebody called me. Bring that foot up to that inner thigh. Again, it's another option. Bring those hands to heart center. Now start to extend those arms up to the sky. Keep the abs tight. Breathe. Now let's add a little bend over to your right side. Inhale, bring it back up. Over to the left side. Good. Bring it back up. Bring those hands to heart center. Bring that knee forward and then extend that leg out. So the abs are really tight. Lifting that leg up as high as you can. So try not to arc that hip up. Keep it down and try and stay tall. So lifting a little bit higher. One more breath. Woo. And lower it down. Good. Shake out those feet, pedal or walk out those ankles, those toes. And then we'll go to the other side. So start by hugging the other knee. So I believe it is your right knee up into the chest. Flexing that foot, abs tight, hold that knee up as high as you can. Really, really strong through that standing leg. Now we'll bring that knee out to the side. So again, ankle, calf, reach down, grab it, bring it to that inner thigh. Ooh. Finding that still spot to gaze at. If you can see yourself on the screen, you're falling, it makes it a little really hard to balance. That's what I'm doing. All right, core is tight, reaching through those fingers. Let's find a little bend over to the left side. Bring it back up. Over to that right side. Bring it back up. Hold. Bring the hands to heart center. Bring that knee forward. There we go. Then extend that leg straight out. Keep the hips level. Standing really tall. Lifting through that leg as high as you can. Good. Then lower that foot down. Inhale. Reach those arms up. And exhale. Fold. Just let it hang here for a couple breaths. Get a little more blood flow to our brain. And then plant those hands. Let's step it back. We'll move through a vinyasa. So lower down. Inhale, lift. And then exhale. Let's send it back to our child's pose. Okay. Little teaser here. We're going to bring those knees out really, really wide. Okay. So I call this a tadpole. So there's your little teaser, what we're setting up for. Okay. So bringing those knees out really wide, you start to feel a big stretch through those inner thighs. Just resting that head down. Okay, then we'll come back up. Okay. Bring those. So I'm going to come and face the long edge of the mat. If you guys are on hardwood floor, I would recommend you do the same. Okay, so bring the knees out even wider than they were before. Okay, now two options. You can be in that frog pose where if you can see my feet, my ankles are in line with my knees and my toes are pointing towards opposite directions of each other. Okay, now from there, you sit your hips back, hey, lowering those elbows down. If your hips are really, really tight like mine, they may not go very far, but just stay with it. Okay, just gently pressing back, keep that core tight. So we want the back flat. We don't want to be rounding or arching. So no cat-cow spines in this position. We want a nice neutral spine, pressing those hips back a little bit more. Now, if this is just way, way too much, you can turn your toes in a little bit. So you're kind of like in a really extended or really wide child's pose. Okay, that's an option too. And then again, if you want to curl the edges of your mat in, like so. There's, so you have that double cushion. It feels a little bit better on those knees. So we have just a couple options. Trying to find the most comfortable position here because we're going to hold it for a little bit. So just breathe. Stay active with this. So just gently pressing those hips back till you get to that sticking point. Hold it there. Breathe. Maybe you can find, press the hips back just a teeny tiny bit more, and then just hold it there. A few more breaths. Stay with it. Maybe press those hips back a little bit more. And slowly come out of it. No, right or wrong way. Oof. And then go ahead and come onto your backs. So and roll it on down. Press into those feet. Let's bridge those hips up. Those hip flexors kind of get a little bit tight in that position. So just release them. So really pressing into the heels, squeezing our glutes, lifting those hips up. I think we're trying to rotate that tailbone up towards the ceiling. And slowly roll it on down. Let's hug those knees into the chest. Just give it a little rock from side to side. Now let's bring those knees wide. We're gonna go into that full happy baby. So we're gonna reach for the outside edges of the feet. So if you have to lift your hips up to grab onto your feet, that's fine. Okay, but before we extend the legs, ground that tailbone down so your back is completely flat. Okay, you'll know it's rounded. If you feel like those vertebrae are digging into the mat, it's not gonna be super comfortable. But as soon as we kind of lift through the chest, draw that tailbone down, they'll lift up and it'll be a lot more comfortable. Yes, we'll have a bigger stretch, but at least it'll be kind of that feeling of the stretching discomfort and not that pain of your spine digging into the mat. So when you're ready, you can just extend those legs so the bottoms of the feet are pointing up towards the ceiling, drawing those knees down outside the shoulders. Just give it that gentle rock from side to side. Now go ahead and release it. Just extend those legs out long, reach those arms overhead, that full body stretch. Now let's hug that left knee. Well, left or right, doesn't really matter. Go ahead and hug it in, and then we'll twist that knee across the body. Opposite arm reaches out, so keep that opposite shoulder grounded down. Take that big breath in. Exhale, see if we can find a little bit more softening on that twist. And then bring that knee back to center. And then switch sides, so the other knee in. And we'll twist that knee across the body, reaching that left arm out. And then bring it back up. Let's finish off with that resting pigeon. So again, crossing that right ankle over that left thigh, hugging that knee in, tailbone grounds down as we pull that knee in. Go ahead and release it. Right to the other side. Go ahead and uncross it. Hug both knees into the chest, rounding that spine, bringing the forehead to the knees. And then we'll extend those legs out, reach those arms overhead, full body stretch, fingertips all the way down through those toes. And exhaling those arms down by the sides, palms will face up. Shoulder blades will walk together. Take that big breath in through the nose. And exhale, side out, just letting yourself completely relax and rest for these next few minutes. Begin to deepen your breath. Just gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Reaching those arms overhead, that full body stretch from the fingertips all the way down through those toes. And then hug those knees in. Gently roll over to your right side. And then you press yourself up into that seat. That's sitting up nice and tall. Eyes remain closed. Just pause it here for a moment. And just sing with that breath. And wherever you notice that breath the most. Maybe it's at the nose. Maybe it's at the chest. And maybe it's that simple cue of in and out. Just wherever you can focus. And again, if the mind starts to wander, that's okay. Just acknowledge it and come right back to that breath. And blinking those eyes open. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Have a great evening. And hopefully I see you guys back here tomorrow morning. We have more of a core focused power yoga, 25 minute. So, all right. Thanks, guys.